So welcome everybody. Thanks for being here again for our third Mega Agent interview. And I'm happy to be here with Katie House with eXp, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think I pretty much know everyone in the room, but I'm Jill McNamee. I am the productivity coach here at the Hudson Market Center. And I've been doing these Mega Agent interviews once a month, just really as a way to provide value to other realtors in the community and to highlight some amazing agents that we have here in our community. So thanks for being with us today, Katie. So we're just going to go through our list of questions, and I'm going to start by just asking you, can you let them know, so how long have you been in the business and sort of what your journey looked like getting into the business?
Yes. So I have been licensed, it will be 10 years this upcoming December. So 2012 is when I started. And I had a dear friend who was a realtor, and she was my realtor. But I've also known her since I was 12 years old. And she was always saying, Katie, you should get your real estate license. You should get your license. And she'd been in since she was 18. Her dad was a very successful agent where I'm from. And I was like, no, I'm too shy, or I'm not a salesperson, or I'm going to have a baby. I don't think I can do it. So finally, when my youngest went to preschool, I stayed at home with my kids for 8 years. When he went to preschool, I was job searching, and I'm like, I don't want to be stuck at a desk, 12, 15 bucks an hour and miss out on my kids' field trips and, all of that. So I reached out to my dear friend Erin, and I said, hey, I think I'm going to get my real estate license. I want more flexibility, I want more control, and I want to have balance in my family too.
Nice. So isn't that funny that she says that? How many of us got into real estate to be able to have what Katie was wanting back then? A lot of us. Do you feel like you have that now?
Oh my gosh, no.
Surprise, surprise. Welcome to real estate.
Right? I thought it was going to be part-time and flexible. And of course, Erin, I knew that she worked hard. I knew that she made great money. But I never knew the time and the blood, sweat, and tears that go into growing a business and a team, and it's just crazy. So I went into it thinking this is going to be part-time and so fun and glamorous, and it was 2012, so there was still I was up in Polk and Chisago counties, and there was a ton of short sales and foreclosures still happening. I would have to come home and literally strip down in the garage because I was in some pretty gross properties. And I'm like, what the heck did I get myself into? But I loved it, and I loved helping people, and I realized that my nurturing, shy self I'm not that shy, but then I thought I was actually an asset, for me in dealing with my clients.
Awesome. Great. So before we start with some of the other questions, what is the structure? Are you a single agent? Are you a team? How many people are you working with right now?
So right now, we're the house team. And so right now it's myself, my admin Barb, who is TC admin. She kind of does both of those duties right now. She's been with me for 5 years, and she is fantastic. She keeps she runs a tight ship on the back end, and she keeps all my files so clean. I love her. And then I have an extremely part-time agent, Hannah, who came on just at the tail end of last year. She just had a baby, has been on maternity leave, and went back to work full-time to keep those benefits. So she's coming on full-time in September, and I'm so excited. I started off this year with the thought that I would have 4 agents and my admin on my team. And by February, I had to fire somebody, which was an awful experience. The hiring process in general was awful. And then having to fire someone or let someone go was awful. And then I had my other full-time agent leave. So it's basically myself and my admin at this point.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, just so they can get a
Oh, yeah.
idea of, and you can all see the ups and downs of team building and all of that.
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
it's
it
not really
hasn't-
as easy as it looks. We all know that. So,
No, it's been uncomfortable.
Yeah, yep. Okay, so, hey, welcome, Sarah. Okay, so do you have a morning routine? So a lot of realtors talk about, oh, I have this morning routine. It keeps me on track. What's your
Right.
morning routine look like?
Mine is not like hardcore, like working out at 4 a.m. Like, no way. Like, that is just not the way I want to start my day. I start my day off really slow. I wake up at like 5:15, 5:30, and I make sure I like have time to drink my coffee. I have like a 5-minute journal. So I'll just like jot down some things in there, and it's literally 5 minutes because I just don't want to, I don't know. Yep, and then I have like a little devotional too, with just like one little verse that kind of like sets the tone for my day. And I'll sit in my cozy chair and drink my coffee, take care of my dogs, and I don't have notifications on my phone until like 8 a.m. So then usually I'll, listen to a great podcast while I'm getting ready and just kind of like, I don't know, try to gain some new insight. I like the Tom Ferry podcast. They always have they have a whole ton of information. Hustle Humbly is another one that I really like.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They're two Southern girls, and they just have a lot of funny things
they're
to
pretty
share.
funny.
Yeah, but lots of structure and like systems too that they share. But I love them. And then I get rolling.
And you work from home,
I work from home. Yep.
and
Yeah.
you like working from home? That works well for you?
It's been like a transition. I had an office space like right in Somerset for a little while, but I didn't use it enough to like make it valuable for me or anybody. So I gave it up just this past year, and I've been working from home. It's not easy. I have kids and dogs and pets and my husband, in and out. And so I try not to, if I feel like I'm getting distracted, I'll just run. But most of the time I'm on the run anyways, so it's working.
Yeah, okay. Nice. So how do you manage your time? We talked a minute ago about balance. Like, how do you, spend your time or manage your time in real estate so you still have time to be with your family and have a life too?
I time block. I time
Welcome,
block.
Andy.
And I try to stick to it and try to just give myself grace when, in real estate, something happens and you have to attend to it, or you have to run on a quick showing or like whatever. So I struggle with okay, then getting back on track with, the time that I've set aside to do other things. So I'm not perfect, but I do time block, and I try to set appointments for me and my kids. Like the other night, I was just so overwhelmed, and it was just a super crazy week and weekend. And so I'm blocked out time. My son and I went on a hike. I turned airplane mode on, and I'm I'm not answering calls. We're going outside. I just need to chill out.
Nice. How old are your kids?
I have a 17-year-old who will be a senior this year, and a 14-year-old who will be a freshman.
Okay. So they're not little, and they're
not
not
little.
bothering you when you're working at home. so
No,
that's
they
good.
don't need me quite as much as they did when I first started. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That probably helps. Okay. So what made you decide to start a team? And we already heard your team structure. So you did the thing being a single agent on your own. Sort of what was your thought process and wanting to join it or build a team, I should say?
So I started a coaching program 5 years ago, just to help me get some structure. When I started in real estate, I had such amazing mentors with my friend and her family who took me under their wing and really just showed me everything they knew. But there was a lack of structure and systems in place there. And I knew that I wanted to grow. I was maxed out at 30 transactions by myself doing, having no admin.
Right.
And I'm I'm going crazy. My kids were little. My husband worked crazy hours. I'm this is stupid. What am I doing this for? And so I kind of took a step back, and I actually remember reaching out to you. And I was like, hey, would you want to sit down with me? I would just love to know what you're doing and how your team works and where you're at, because I thought Jill McNamee is this huge
Oh.
successful agent, right?
Thank you. But
And I reached out to Jay Fletch, and I reached out to some area agents who I felt were extremely successful, and you guys were gracious enough to take the time and have lunch with me. I think you gave me a book, which was so kind, because I was just looking for like, what's going to work for me? Like, you know, if I can take one thing that works for Jill and maybe one thing that works for Jay, or, you know, whatever, like what's going to work for me. And then I started the hiring process of bringing on an admin or a transaction coordinator to just take away that paperwork stuff.
Right.
And then got to a certain point where I felt like I felt good. And then I had a former client approach me who was like, hey, do you need help like with your administrative work? And I'm like, no, but I think I'd really like, you know, help with showings, and I think I need another agent. So she ended up getting her license like shortly after closing on her first home, which was just really cool. And then she began to work with me.
And she's still with you now?
No, she was a full-time agent. She was with me for 3 years. Took her under my wing, and I feel like she's an amazing agent, so I'm really proud of her. She left and she's gone independent, and
nice.
so yeah. And then Hannah was actually another former client, and she came to us and said, I want to get into real estate. And so we took her on, and she's picked up things so quickly. I'm so excited for her to go full-time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so something to note about what Katie just said, coaching has been important in your real estate journey.
Yeah.
So who are you coaching with?
So I was with the Core for about a year and a half, 2 years, like 5 years ago or so. And then I just joined Tom Ferry like back in November. I just felt like I took a lot of great basics from the Core, and then I couldn't continue. It was very intense.
Oh,
And so I took a lot of great basics, put them into place, and then I just felt like I was kind of in this funk where it's like, I know I want to grow, I need to grow, you know, but I need some more structure, some insight, and so I joined Tom Ferry recently then this past fall.
so is that group coaching then, or one-on-one coach?
Nope,
or?
it's like a half an hour every week, one-on-one.
Okay. When you said the Core was intense, did they have a lot of like homework for you to do, or what was so intense about it? I'm
I
curious
think-
about that.
I honestly think like at the point in my life, like my kids were still really little. There's hockey, there's baseball, my husband, you know, like there was a ton of homework, and I was also volunteering and on the board and, you know, joined BNI, and I was so overwhelmed by the tasks that I had to do for the Core, which was still good for my business, that I'm like, and some of it, like I'm in a rural area, most of my business is Somerset, New Richmond, east and north of there, so like some of it just didn't work for me. So I just kind of said, okay, I think I've gained all I can from this for right now, and I just decided to take a break.
Make a change. Sometimes
Yeah.
change is good, right? We
Yeah.
just need to. I feel that way too with coaching. It's kind of like having a personal trainer. If you do the same exercise over and over and over, eventually your body's going to stop responding until you make a change. So
Right.
that's good. So do you set goals for yourself? Do you have a goal for 2022 that you set for yourself?
Yes. I mean, I had like huge goals when I was anticipating having like 4 agents and admin. I was like, I'm going to bring on a marketing assistant. Like, it's going to be fantastic. And then by February, I had to fire someone. I'm like, you know, and then somebody left, and you know, and my other dear agent is going to have a baby, and I'm like, holy it's on me, you know, and I'm like, I was so, like, I took it so personally, and I was, like, so brokenhearted. I want to cry right now. It was awful. Like, you know what I mean?
She does. She knows exactly what
Yeah, I know. I'm living your world right now, like for the last 10 years. So yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
Like, anybody who has a team, I think that's doing way more business than me, has been through those, like, pain
yeah.
points where it's like, holy, you know, I took it so personally. And then I was doubting myself and feeling, like, pity on, you know, my husband's like, you need to just, like, get out of bed. Like, I was so down like, I was just like, this is like, but I kept my goals. So my original goals for 2022 were 30 million and 102 transactions. And like in 2020, we did 73 transactions and like 17.6 million. Last year, we eliminated online leads. And we went down a little bit, so 66 transactions, 16 million. And I think my full-time agent got a little burnt out. You know, it was just a lot. I think that everyone wants different things in their business. For me, I want to grow, and do bigger and better things and do more. And some people don't want that.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot, you know, when people go. I've learned a lot. But I'm nowhere near like that original goal. I think I had a personal goal of like 50 transactions, 15 million. I think I'll reach that, but yeah, kind of shook me, threw me for a little loop, but
Yeah. Well, it's hard not to take it personally because as the leader, you're like, okay, it really has to fall on us as the leader, right? Like, there was a reason they left, and it might not be that they didn't like you, but they're seeing more value in wherever they're going, whether they're going off on their own or. So it can be heartbreaking. Believe
Yeah.
me, as he said, I've been there. I know how it is.
yeah.
So yeah, it's you always have to ask yourself, like, what could I have done differently, or what was I not offering that they needed? So one of the things that I struggle with is really understanding why my people want what they want. Not really so much to be like, okay, well, someone's goal is to sell 20 properties. It's like, well, if I don't know why they want that, it might be harder for me as the leader to help them get to where they're wanting to go. So,
Yeah, I have definitely become more self-aware, and I've learned a lot this year.
do you think you'll continue moving forward to build a team?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to look like how I originally started out thinking that it would. So right now I'm just kind of like exploring my options. I have a new coach, and you know, even what she says, what works for her and what I need to do, I'm completely different from her. And so I think I'm leaning towards a more administratively heavy team with, you know, 2 agents, and maybe several of those team members are licensed as well. I think that would work really well, and now it's just a matter of finding the right people.
Right. Which can be hard, especially in the world right now. Everybody's looking for good help, right?
Yeah, and I kind of like, I took a step back. I just like wallowed in like self-pity. I took a step back, and I'm trying to just be really intentional. You know, if people come to me, I want to help them, you know, and oh, of course, like I'll help you, come on, like I'll give. Well, I need, like I need help. So I
Right.
think I need to be intentional about not just wanting to help, you know,
Others.
others all the time and help other people learn and grow, which is great. Like I love to do that, but I think for my business, that's not what I need. So
Well, at the end of the day, after giving and giving, you have to be able to support yourself too, you know.
right.
So there has to be, and that's not being selfish. It's just the way it works, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so market of the moment. So what are you doing to win right now? Like, where are you getting your business from right now?
Most of our business comes from our past clients,
Okay.
referrals from our sphere. I'm starting to get more agent referrals, like Minnesota agents will refer their clients to me, which is awesome. But yeah, most of our business comes from past clients and referrals. We did jump back on Zillow Zillow and Realtor.com when I was thinking we had, you know, 4 agents. I wanted to be able to feed them something. But I have since scaled
Dropped
that
that off.
back quite a bit. And like ways that we're winning, education, were really like huge. Like we really started doing buyer consults like heavy. We get a referral, we get a new buyer, we are grabbing lunch, grabbing coffee, spending 2 hours with them, explaining the market, what's happening in the market, explaining terminology, asking questions about their lifestyle. Like we are taking that time up front, and you know, it's a lot. And some buyers are like, what? Like, I just really want to see this house. Like, you're really annoying. But I think they leave and they're like, oh my gosh, like I'm ready for this. And she really cares about me. Like, you know, she wants to know what I need, what we're looking for. She wanted to buy me lunch. Like, I feel like investing in that up front and just knowing, is this going to be a good fit for everybody, has been huge. Same on the seller side. I just feel like we're spending so much more time like consulting, so much more time with our clients. And I think they appreciate that. Like I went in to a market analysis the other day, and you know, this sweet woman had lost her husband. I'm sitting across the kitchen table from her, and she's like, well, you know, so-and-so had an agent, and he came over and he walked around and he took measurements outside, and then I got an email. Like, you know, and she's in her 80s. And I'm just like, and then she's upset because she thinks she has to, you know, get everything out of the house. And I'm like, hold on a second, like, no. And I'll be back for a second appointment, and we're gonna talk through this, and we're gonna discuss and ask questions. And so I just think spending that time and investing and educating has been a huge way that we're winning right now.
Okay, stop there, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff I want to unpack
Yeah.
in what you said. So you said you're getting a lot of agent referrals from agents in Minnesota all of a sudden. Like, how do those agents know about you?
Not a lot, but I feel like more so than in the past. I don't know. I know we're trying to be more consistent on social media. I'm not actively marketing to other agents for referrals.
Okay, that's kind of what I was leading to.
Yeah, other than like on the Tom Ferry network, like I have found other referrals that way. We have like this great network. But no, I haven't like actively. I think it's just word of mouth.
Okay, and maybe social media. Okay, that's great. Now, you also said you were bringing clients to dinner or doing an actual buyer consult. Like, hey, that is a real thing, right? A buyer consult. So again, how are you getting the ones that, hi, Katie, I'm sitting in front of 123 Main Street. Like, when can you be here to show me the house?
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
I might show one, you know, and then be like, you know, if they're like, they're really interested or this isn't the right one, but, you know, we really do want to buy, then I'll be like, let's set an appointment, let's sit down together, and pretty receptive. You know, if they don't want to, then it's like, I actually haven't had anybody who doesn't want to.
Okay. And then is that, you said you sometimes go to dinner, so you're not really going through like a presentation so much?
No.
You're just more or less having that buyer consult as a conversation rather
Yeah.
than a presentation?
Yeah,
So
I-
it's not getting them into the office and going through a PowerPoint or something?
No, I mean, sometimes I'll pull out my computer and take notes so that I can remember what we talked about and what's important to them. And then we have like new client contact form, and we can add like notes, and then that goes into our CRM. So
What do you use for a CRM?
we just switched. I mean, I was with Top Producer.
Oh,
It was so bad. So we just switched to KV Core, which is like our EXP.
okay, yeah,
And it's really insightful, and like it's like a whole new world. Like I feel like we were like in the dark
do you have
ages.
it all set up? I have a friend that actually sets up KV Core for people, so if you want her name, I can give you
Yeah,
that
we're like
after.
in the process of moving like everything over. We've kept like
That's a
both.
big job.
And it's so, I'm so glad I have Barb, because I'm just like, this is a nightmare. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, that's a lot to go through. Okay. So what does your lead generation look like? Do you have set time frames that you lead generate? You did mention earlier that you're time blocked, so
Yeah.
that's good. So are you doing your lead gen in the morning, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I try to like, I try to make calls in the morning. And then I usually, like my lead generation is like just keeping up with past clients. Sometimes it looks like commenting on their social media, or like sending them a quick text and be like, hey, I was just driving by your house. Like, I hope everything's great. Like, how's your summer? It's a lot of like checking in on my past clients, because that's where the majority of our business comes from. So that's where I spend the majority of my time.
So do you have a systematized way you do that then?
Through our CRM, I have like a list of calls that I should make like every single day.
Okay. So
And
you
usually-
get like a task that pops up to
Yeah.
say, call Joe Smith today.
Yeah, and usually it'll be like 10 people. And sometimes I don't get them all done, or sometimes I'll pile them up on one day, and I just try to get back on track.
So is the past client database then your touches with them all phone, text, and maybe social media? Do you do any mailing to them or anything like that?
Right now, like our top 100, like my 100 favorite people get like I think it's like Reminder Media. It's this magazine. And I usually put like a letter on the
Is that
inside.
who we just had here?
I was like, I don't want to buy this, like maybe send me a sample, and they did. And so they have like 3 different magazines, and you can switch it up, you can change out recipes, and like my clients love it. Like, and then I write like a personal letter on the inside. Here's what's happening with our family, the market, and then yeah, I'll try to include, like, I'm on the community food pantry board in Somerset, so I'll include little updates. They're building a new building, or, you know, like just little things. And people, they love it, and they'll send me a text or a little picture. I love this, or whatever, or I made this, and I'm like, I can't believe like how much they love it. So that's honestly like
Good sales pitch for Reminder Media,
I
who's
know.
just here.
I
Too
just-
bad they're not still in the room. Julie
And
Julie
it's-
uses them too.
Yeah, I mean, it's quarterly, but people love it, and they think it's cool. So honestly, that's like probably the only mailing our clients
And that's for your
get.
top 100.
And that's our top 100.
So what makes them a top 100? How do I get on your top 100 list? I mean, how do you choose, right, if you're going to pick 100 people?
Oh my gosh. So just the clients that stay in touch, that answer my calls, that refer business to us, I mean, and people that we love working with. You know, when you connect
Yeah.
with someone and
Right.
you're like, oh my gosh, like and they just adore you, that's who we're focusing on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So when they refer you, what does that look like? Do they get a thank you note? Do they get, you know, because I like to think of when you get a referral, you give something,
Yeah.
whether it turns into business or not, because you're rewarding for the activity of them sending you the name,
Yep.
not necessarily the outcome of the referral. So do you do anything like that for referrals?
Yeah, we do. So I'll usually do like a $25 or $50 gift card when someone has reached out and let me know that the gift, if I know that client better, we do have like a client questionnaire. So we try to take in information about like their favorite flowers, their favorite restaurant, their favorite cocktail, like where they like to drink coffee. And so we'll just try to like make it one of their faves and say thank you.
Right, okay, nice. Okay, so then that's sort of your past clients and your people in your database. What about the Zillow leads? How do you attack those?
Oh my
Because you
gosh.
did say you're spending money on that, so what does that look like? Because I've been there, done that also.
Yeah, we have drastically reduced, and now with fewer agents, you know, able to take a call, you know, when it comes in, it's just been really rough. And to be honest, we had, like in 2020, some extreme nightmare clients that were online leads. And we looked at each other and we're like, no, this
Yeah.
isn't worth it. Absolutely not. And so we were burnt out. These people were horrible people that I honestly would never
Want to work with.
want to work
It's
with
okay
again.
to say that. Unfortunately, there's those people
I mean,
out
it's
there.
just, it was so bad. And I'm as patient as they come. I am extremely hardworking. I know that about myself. And we just couldn't. And so I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. And we made that conscious decision. You know, now it's like, okay, if we can answer the phone and grab somebody and get them on a buyer consult or get them in one showing and then go from there, we have a pretty good, rate of closing those ones that we can grab and make contact with.
Well, you can always find a referral agent in the community that's not your favorite that might want to take
Right,
a referral.
maybe.
Like, here, take this
Right,
referral.
take this
I'll work out a
fabulous-
referral deal with you.
Yeah.
No, that was not very culturally. I was just kidding. Please delete that from the recording. Did I say that out loud? Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we kind of covered, if I'm in your database, how often are you communicating with me? But how often are you? Like, so those past clients, the people that you do like in your database, not necessarily your top 100, because you probably have more than 100 in your database. For just a normal person in your database who's maybe in your sphere of influence, how many times a year are they hearing from you? Or a month, maybe?
Probably not a month, but I would say like quarterly, like every 3
Okay.
months it probably like cycles through. So I feel like that's good to just know what's going on in their lives. And like it's easy to send a text or like keep up on social, but I feel like when you make those phone calls, you just learn so much, you know, and or they might think of somebody who, you know, needs to buy or sell like while you're on the phone. And I just feel like you learn more through those conversations. So I try to make the calls, and I still don't like doing it. Like I really don't, but I do.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the job, right?
Yep.
We all know we have to do if we're going to be in real estate. So do you do any cold calling as part of your lead gen?
No.
Other than the Zillow follow-up?
Yeah, I never have. Like, it's just never, what's that? Like, that's just never been my thing, like, not doing it. It's never been a part of the way I was trained or anything like that, so I've never done that. I've gotten cold calls before. We have a birthday program, too. We send out birthday cards with gift cards for all of our past clients who we have a birthday on record for.
Nice.
But I don't do cold calling.
Okay. Is it just your clients on that birthday program, or is it like sphere of influence, or if you have their birthday and they're in your database?
Yeah, I mean, mostly it's our past clients.
Okay.
Vendors too, like inspectors and stuff once in a while.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so we kind of already covered this, but my next question was where are your top sources of business? You already said past clients, you're getting some agent referrals. Would you say those are your top two, or not really? Is there a third one that you would also include in your top three?
Yeah, past clients and referrals from our sphere. Referrals from other agents has been really nice. And then online would be that third.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you measure the online stuff? Like, how do you know a person found you online?
We ask them.
Do you always ask everyone how they
Yep,
heard of you?
in our like client questionnaire, if we do get to the transaction point, that is a question. How did you hear of Katie or Hannah? And they'll say, you know, we have like, you know, a friend or family member, my lender, you know, whoever, they can write it in.
And when are they filling out that client questionnaire?
At the time of accepted offer.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Let's see. So what are you really good at that we can all learn from you?
Oh my gosh. I have been complimented on my marketing by other agents, which is kind of cool. I'm kind of old school. I still do like beautiful paper marketing at my listings, even when the market was like crazy and a listing would fly off. And I would get like, my clients would be like, can I have a few extra? I'm just gonna like send them to my, you know, sister or whatever, because they're like, they're beautiful. We have them printed at Minuteman. I create them in Canva. And I like, that's just what I like. I like paper, I like pretty notes, I like beautiful things that someone could take with them. And I think that that's, it's been like an extra value to our clients too. They really, most of them really appreciate it and think they look great. And I've had agents call me and be like, you have beautiful marketing material at your listing. Like, who is doing that for you? So that's been really nice.
And you do that yourself?
I do.
So do you feel like that takes a lot of time?
Yeah, we have great templates, so we can kind of, like,
okay.
it's gotten really quick, and I love Canva. It's easy to use. It would be awesome to have a marketing assistant or coordinator to start taking that on for me. So I'm not up at 11:30 at night.
Yeah. Well, that'll be your next hire. I'll hold you accountable to that. So, okay, so what advice do you have for a new agent who's just beginning in today's world? Because we kind of all know, we can feel we're heading maybe into a little shift here. What advice would you have for someone that's maybe a new agent?
Okay, I did write some things down, but I'll try to, because I figured we were maybe going to talk about this. But collaboration, I think, is huge. Building, like finding your tribe within our like real estate community, like finding those people that you really like click with. Like if we have a great transaction, like I'm gonna call you, like, Jill, when I feel like I'm freaking out about something, and like I'm like, okay, like, who can I go to before I go to my broker, or like who maybe has experience with this, or I don't know, we just kind of get each other, right? This industry is kind of crazy, and like our friends and family don't understand sometimes. So I think like having really good friends in the business is so important, and to be there and to support each other, because we're all, what are we working towards? You know, we're
The common goal.
right. We're working towards helping our clients, you know, buy or sell, and we always have to work together. And you never know. Like, I've just dealt with some really yucky people, and then, you know, they write an offer on your listing, and they're all like buddy buddy, and it's like, that's another thing. It's another way that I have won in this market is by playing nice in the sandbox and being there for other agents. And I think it's even more important in an extremely competitive market. In any market, there's challenges. So I think just collaborating and like finding your tribe and a good mentor and a good coach. I think being bold and feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable, you're growing, right?
Yep.
That's the thing.
I literally want to run and hide, like right now. Like that
Well,
is.
high five that you said yes to my phone call.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. Yes, I'll do it.
Yeah, I should probably do it.
So just getting uncomfortable and being comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that is when you know that you're growing, right? I think also like doing the hard thing right away in the morning, like when you know you have to make that yucky phone call, like it is so appreciated when it's like, okay, you don't want to sit and worry all day. So for new agents, like I would just like stir on something and I would just avoid it and like let it just eat me. And now I'm just like, let's just get it
Rip
done.
the Band-Aid off because
Yeah.
you know you have to do it, right? And
Yeah.
then you can focus on something else the rest of your day.
I have so much advice for new agents.
Oh, well, spill it. We want to hear it all.
I wrote a list.
Good.
Be yourself. Like that's why people want to work with you, because you're you. Like they don't really care what broker you're with. Like people want to work with you because you're you. So be yourself. Reach out to someone who you admire and grab coffee with them. I think like if there's like a agent who you feel is really successful or you feel like you could learn from them, then I mean, most times people are like flattered and they want to share with you, you know, so don't be afraid if you're new to just reach out and say, hey, what's working for you? And I will be that agent and I will share all my failures and, you know, like I will be that agent for you. Be patient with yourself and like give yourself grace, and you don't have to know everything. Nobody expects you to know everything. I'm still learning every single day. I'll call Sarah and be like, are you freaking kidding me? Have you ever even heard this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we are all like, what in the world? This is a crazy business. So nobody expects you to know everything. So ask another agent or ask your broker, and do what works for you. Like, do what works for you. And that can be really hard to figure out, right? Like what works for Jill, like might not work for me. We are different people. What works for me, you might think is just ridiculous. I don't know, but just do what works for you. And take the time to listen and learn from others and your mistakes and like move on.
Yeah, it's really good advice. Nice.
I have a lot more if you ever want to meet.
More? Well,
No, I'm just joking. But
oh, okay. Because I was going to say
those were like
if
some
it's-
things I was like
if
trying
it's
to.
valuable for sure. Okay, so what does your relationship look like with your favorite lender
Oh my gosh.
or lenders?
I have lenders that have sent me business, and I feel like that's rare. So, you know, I'll post a great listing or something, and then a couple lenders will reach out and be like, hey, can I like do some, you know, share some flyers at your listing? Like, oh, it's been a while. I have lenders that I know and trust. I know their process, and they will send me referrals too, and I think that's really nice. My relationship with my lenders is like lots of communication back and forth, but like not too much because I already I know they're gonna do their job. They trust me. So I have like 2 or 3 lenders that
Favorites
that
you
I
work
try to match my clients to. Like nobody can work with just like one lender. Like not everybody fits in that box. So like, if it's so and so, I'm thinking they're going to be a really good fit with this person, or maybe I know that they can get something done that maybe this person can't, or whatever.
So just for some of the lenders in the room, I know we have some lenders in the room today, and obviously some new agents. So what is the one most important thing that a lender can be or do for you that's going to make you want to work with them more? Like what is most important?
Just communicate and be upfront. I think that's huge. I've had like deals that fell apart that like I had no idea there was something wrong, until
So make the hard phone call
Make
right away
those-
as
yeah.
the lender, so we don't have to find out the day before closing.
Yeah, and I think like we're out. I know like the lenders are like behind their desks like with their team like doing all the finances, and that's fine. But we're out with our clients. They're like real people. They have families, and like I feel like we're like we're that touch point, and they're real people and they have lives, and like you can't just tell me like 3 days prior to closing that this isn't going to work when you knew like a week and a half ago that there was trouble. So like, I don't know, just a heads up if something's going south so that we can work together to solve it. I've had lenders keep things from me, and so that just feels really yucky because I feel like there's always some way to just figure something out and make our clients more comfortable. I get it, stuff comes up, but yeah, I think communication is just like the hugest thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And doing what you say you're gonna do.
Okay. Okay, so I have one last question before we open it up for Q&A. So is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have?
I don't know.
It's always a tough question.
I don't know.
Can't think of anything?
Not really. I mean,
What about events? Do you do events?
oh yeah. Well, we just started doing like more in-person events. We had kind of started in 2019 to do like little happy hours and things, and then with COVID we stopped. And so we just did like our first like event, client appreciation event at 45th Parallel in New Richmond. So I hope that will continue to be another touch point for our past clients. We had a good turnout and it was so easy. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're
So-
scared to do events, like don't be, and just like go for it, because people appreciate it and they just think they thought it was like the coolest thing. And
So
it was so
like a
easy.
happy hour there?
It was a happy hour. We did like, charcuterie boards and some pizzas, and it was in like this huge event space, which was like, I'm like, oh my God, like maybe like 12 people will come. But we had like, 30, 35 people
That's
come.
good for your
and
first event.
I think so too. Like when it's been a while, so I was pleased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so events, I mean, the way I look at an event is the event is really not as much about the event as it is the opportunity to use the event for lead generation before and after the event, right?
Yeah.
So when you said, if you're afraid to do an event, I always think about it this way, like if you're doing a pie event and your budget is to give away 25 pies,
Oh, we do that
no
too.
one needs to know that you only have 25 pie budget. Like you send out the email or the postcard or whatever to your entire database and you say, call right away today because when they're gone, we only have a limited quantity. They don't need to know what the limited quantity is. So I feel like an event is really like a huge way to get bang for your buck
Yeah.
in your, with your marketing and your touches to your database, because they're not all going to show.
Yeah.
Like you put the invite out there and not everyone's going to show, but they're going to get your postcard and go like, oh, Katie wanted to give me a free pie. She's so sweet. And they really like still think about you even if they can't make your event.
Yeah,
So,
and like people will reach out and be like, I'm so sorry, I can't make it. And I'm like, I never thought like you would even like consider coming, but I'm really glad, like I'm like, oh my gosh. But we do pie giveaways too, and
Okay.
so that's another way
is
that
that
we,
like a Thanksgiving thing?
yeah, and we just do, Costco, the giant pies, and we have these beautiful labels printed on them, and people are just like, "Holy cow, you're giving me!" And it's just fun.
So now that you're working from home, then how do they get their pie?
So I think we're gonna do it a little different and do, maybe grab a space in Richmond
Okay.
and do like a happy hour along with it, and just
Oh, that's a good
because we
idea.
haven't gathered, people have just kind of
Right.
swung by. We had a very tiny office space and grabbed their pie, but I think we'll just kind of make it a more casual happy hour, like
Like an actual get together?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And we had our videographer I signed a contract, 3-month contract with a videographer this summer, and he was at our happy hour and created like this super cool video that, then we can share. And he's been helping me with some more like education, like reels and all that social media stuff, which I also hate. I hate it. I hate it,
feeling.
but I'm doing it anyways, and it's also uncomfortable. But I'm just doing it anyways, so we've gotten good feedback from some of that too.
And now your videographer, is he like a marketing person too then, where he can help you learn social media if you don't know how to make a reel?
Well, he
Or
tells
no?
me when I'm doing it wrong. But he'll create it and tell me like kind of what to do. But no, he's not like overly, he does the video.
Yeah.
And then I've got to figure out the rest. So
So he's not necessarily telling you where or how to market the video, he's just creating it. for
little
you.
tips, yeah,
Yeah.
here and there. But yeah, we're kind of just like wandering through that too.
Okay, and is that a local person that you're using?
It's Rob with Rue Bevy. He is out of the Twin Cities, but he's worked with some other local teams, and he is amazing. I think he's trained as a pastor because literally he's had to like grab my hand and pray with me because I've been so nervous, and I'm just like, oh. But he's wonderful, and so like if you want his contact information, like if you're thinking about doing video, like he is the guy. Like he's just been so patient with me, and he really cares about his clients and helping you grow.
Okay, so what do you think your future looks like? Like where do you see yourself 3 years from now?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have my team figured out.
That's
I'm gonna
your
have,
number one goal?
yeah, I really want to have like a great, like smooth running team, some more systems and processes in place that will take some tasks from me, and hopefully be able to help other people grow and work together. Like I'm like a team. It's hard for me to be alone in real estate, and sometimes it can get really lonely. Even
Yeah.
like you just get so like in your head, right? Like you're in the car and you're like, "Whoa." Like there's so much happening in my head all the time. And so to have like, like a team,
Yeah.
like I need like friends. Like I need a common goal too, and like I'm a team player. So I think I've learned a lot about being a leader. And so I'm just excited for growth. So in 3 years, I really see like a smooth running team. Gosh, hopefully we'll get to that 100 transaction mark.
You will.
Yeah, I think we will. And that's what I see.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Does anybody have any questions for Katie?
Why did you think adding a videographer would benefit your team, and how did you decide that would be the next step for you?
Okay, so when I had loss in my team, like when I had one agent leave and then I had to fire someone, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I'm someone, like I have a beautiful branding, but I don't necessarily like put my face out there all the time. So I thought, how am I gonna attract like-minded people unless I like open up and show a little bit more about myself, or so I really thought that a videographer would be the way to show that's Katie, she's really cool and I want to work with her, or it might attract another agent to be like, oh, she's really cool, or I don't know, I want it to be cool. No, I really did it for attraction, to attract possible teammates and team members, and then also to attract leads and to just spread our brand, add value for our clients too, because it's expensive, but it looks so professional, and I think that's really important
And you just started that a few months ago.
Just a few months ago, and honestly, like I think my Instagram reach went up like it was stupid. It was like I want to say at one point it was up like 1,500% or something. Like it was
Wow.
crazy the amount of reach. I don't even know the numbers, but I screenshotted it and I sent it to Rob, and I'm like, what? I mean, from doing these stupid videos where I just look like an idiot, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what the heck? But they're just like the reach, and you just never know who you're going to reach. So
Do you think it's benefited your business besides the reach part of it?
I think so. I hope so. I see, like, I have other people telling, you know, complimenting me and saying, like, oh, that's really cool what you're doing. And, oh, I saw that. Even though, like, they're not, like, liking it or, you know, like, whatever, I think the engagement is there. And so I think that's important. And I think the more I do it and the more consistent I am with it, that, you know, I think the more benefit it will have for my business. And it's awful. Like, I really still hate it. But I'm glad that I did it.
Well, and as you do it more and more, it should get easier and easier.
Yeah.
I still hate it too.
Yeah.
But it's, again, it's, you got to do what you got to do, you know. It's going to improve your business, so it's worth it.
Yeah, and I know that, and I've seen such a great, you know, feedback and just a greater reach, and so I know I need to do it, so I'm going to continue to do it. And I will get better, and then it'll get easier, so.
Because it is expensive, do you have a budget set out for all of your marketing materials and like for each listing or for the year?
You know, like for each listing, it's pretty consistent. I did start doing like listing videos too. And I think I'm going to try to like negotiate with my videographer a little bit. We have a contract right now, and I think it will probably be more like a la carte now that I kind of know what I like to do and what I need. So I didn't start out with a budget because I just kind of went like full in, like let's just do this and let's see how much. And he was like, the value that came from it, I think was worth it. Like even though it felt expensive. So I think I'll continue on a more budgeted like schedule.
So you're doing listing videos then? Are you doing them for all your clients, or are you picking and choosing?
Not all. I think it's going to have to be like when I look at my budget as we continue, like a la carte. It's going to I'm going to have to weigh it out for each one, or
Are you
adjust.
worried that a client might see a video that you did for someone else and then say, well, you know, why am I not getting a video?
Not really. I'll cross that bridge if I have to. You know.
Yeah.
I did one recently. It was a referral that I'm paying out, but I really just wanted to try it. I'm paying out a referral to another Minnesota agent, and the house is this much, and I did a discount for, you know, a VA, like, you know, so I'm really just doing it for I know it will help me in the long run. I will have to be mindful of budget, but I really just did it just to do it.
Okay. I know there were some questions in the back. Andy, did you have a question?
I have a question. How do you, as an agent, not go crazy with your phone? Like, on people communicating with you until the end of time?
I have notifications turned off until 8 a.m. It doesn't mean that I don't check it in the morning right away sometimes if I'm expecting something. But then I also have notifications shut off at like 8:30. I still check it before I go to bed if there's like an emergency, you know, but at least I'm not getting ding, 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 you know, like I did turn off notifications for email. If someone emails me, I will get to it when I get to it, but I can't, like that constant, it feels like you're in Vegas if you're, you know, like it's so much, and I'm easily distracted. Like it's very hard for me to like stay on track. So I think just like setting those baby boundaries, like for email and like the nighttime, just to like make dinner with my family or like be at the baseball game without being like completely bombarded. I'm still working. I wrote an offer over the weekend at my kids' baseball game, but I'm just like, if I can avoid it, I will try to. But it's really hard to set boundaries, don't
Well,
you
if you're
think?
setting the proper expectation with your clients ahead, and you let them know that here's your working hours, and
I don't
you know.
necessarily say like, but that's something that we talk about in our buyer consult. You know, I'm like, you need to call me if it's something very important. you can text me if, something can wait, and email, I won't get back with you, probably until like end of day or like midday sometimes. And sometimes I'm at my desk, so I'll respond right away if I can. But it is good, and like to see how they want to be communicated with. So like those consults, and it's really nice to set those expectations up front and just find out, okay, how do they want to be communicated with, and if they understand my expectations too.
Yeah, that's good to know. I think when you have the expectations set up front that, if you have a client that doesn't like texting or doesn't know how to text, if it's an older person or an email. I actually one time had a client who wouldn't answer my call. Like, she would never answer my call, but if I texted her right after I called, she'd respond.
And
And it's like, why she didn't prefer to talk to me for whatever reason. Like, she was a very, just give it to me straight. Like, what do you want? Text it to me. So I think, if you have that conversation up front and you know how they like to be communicated with,
Yeah.
it makes a better overall customer experience for them.
Yeah, I think
I
so
think.
too. That's helped a ton, just just talking about it up front. And they remember, and they do try to, they're like, oh yeah, I forgot that you whatever. And I'm like, oh, really? Did I, I
Yeah.
forget.
Awesome. Julie, did you have a question?
Well, I was just gonna say that Katie and I are part of a text group with a bunch of our fellow New Richmond agents. And when she says that she likes to collaborate and work with others, she's not lying, because we had an agent a couple days ago who couldn't get into a house because they didn't have a super key that was working. And so his sister actually reached out to our text group and said, I have an agent that's trying to get into a house. Does anybody have a super key? And she was like on it before. I literally just went on my phone and looked to see if my super key was working, and she had already responded and said, I'll be there, I'll be right there.
I was just heading out the door, like for my whole day of showing. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like if that was me,
Right,
like,
we are-
Yeah.
And we're all three from different places.
yeah. And that's
Working together.
another, if any of you do business like up in Somerset and Richmond area and just need like a group to just lean on. We meet the first and third Wednesdays of every month, and like we met this morning, and we talk through problems, issues, new rules and regulations, questions about the MLS, and like we just kind of all like feed off of each other. Luke goes to, and it is like we were just there this morning, and it's usually like 15 to like sometimes we have a full room, and we meet at Champs in New Richmond first and third Wednesdays. And it's like the best thing ever. And then we go out and tour new listings together, and we're all from different brokers. And we do tubing, down, I don't know. We have like pool days, and it is really cool.
So it's also a social thing,
It is totally,
which is really
yeah.
fun. So we don't really have that in Hudson here.
I
We
know.
should probably start something like that.
Yeah, a lot of these agents are experienced. They've been around forever, and I just always, any of those agents, I feel like I could call and be like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I know that they would be there for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
awesome.
they're all willing to help, like you said, we can count on any one of them. And that was a perfect example. Katie was on that in seconds. Helping a fellow agents.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good. Anybody else have any last minute questions for Katie? No? Oh,
Yeah.
Kathy? Oh, yeah, Dave.
So back to social media, what platform are you hitting or are you using a lot?
Probably Instagram.
Instagram is the biggest.
Yeah. And I think I know my audience is like women my age, and I think that's pretty easy to use for women my age. Yeah, Facebook is definitely more business for me. Sometimes I'll share in my stories daily things, but Instagram and Reels is kind of my focus. I'm TikTok is I don't know. I can't do funny dances or point to things, but I've been sharing the educational videos, and once in a while it'll be a ton of views. But Instagram, I'm figuring it out.
Awesome. Yes,
So I was
Kathy.
just gonna ask in terms of managing your time. It sounds like you're a good manager of your time. Is there a max number of buyers you'll work with?
I've never set a max as far as buyers. No, No, I haven't.
Do you have
I
a
mean,
preference, list side or buy side?
Obviously, like I like both. I love listing homes. I love marketing homes. That's fun and exciting for me. But I also really love working with buyers. Like I think I'm just a nurturer at heart. Like I'm good at holding someone's hand and like walking them through this and like being also like, you know, their friend and their counselor. You know what you turn into. And sometimes it's a lot, you know, it's a lot. But I've never set like I'm only going to work with this many buyers. I have goals, like when we look at what we did last year and then we try to say, okay, well then here's what we're expecting for this year. But I think it was pretty even as far as buyers and sellers, our business. So I haven't limited it, and I feel burnt out sometimes, especially without the help that I was anticipating. But I also get a ton of joy from it. Like, I don't know, I love being on the go. I love meeting with my clients. Like, I love it so much, and I love the, like, I don't know, the ups and downs and like I don't know. I'm not like a drama person, but I just feel like it's so like challenging, and then like, yeah, and then you get to the end. So I still love it.
That's awesome. Good. Yes.
One more, sorry. So let's say like you're at your kid's baseball game or you're at the gym or something, and someone calls and it's like, I only have this time to
Bless
see
you.
this house. And you're like, okay, I can be there in 10, 15 minutes, but I'm wearing leggings and an oversized sweatshirt. Are you gonna do that, or are you gonna not do that?
I'm gonna do that.
Do you have like an extra set of clothes in your car, or are you just gonna be like, this is what you get because you called me right now?
This is what you get. Yes. And I mean, most of my clients are pretty casual. So like, you know, I don't even worry about that anymore. I think when I first started, I'm like, what do I wear? You know, like, what do I wear to this? What do I wear? And I just feel like, yeah, you have to match your clients sometimes. Like, don't make them uncomfortable if you're overdressed. But most people really just want to see the house and they don't care what you look like, right?
Nice. All right, well, it's 3:30, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So thank you so much for being here today,
Thank you,
Katie.
Jill. Thanks for
And-
inviting me.
Yeah, yeah. So let's give Katie a round of applause. Thanks, Katie. And next, well, first, before I go on, I want to thank, Kathy was not in the room when we started, which is totally okay, but I want to make sure that she gets recognized for always bringing us the yummy treats and stuff. So America's Preferred Home Warranty. So I don't know if you want to say a few words, but thank you.
Earlier today, I was thinking to myself, how wonderful it is, like in this market center, how you guys always come together and have that camaraderie, and to bring somebody from a completely different brokerage in, just shows how you work in the community too. It's not just in here, it's everywhere. And these are so great. You're such a good interviewer, Jill. You
thanks.
ask really good questions.
Thank you.
And it goes a lot of places that sometimes you just don't expect. And thank you for giving your time too. It's wonderful to see other people that are having success, hear what they do and how they speak. So I'm so honored that I get to come and be a part of your market center and provide treats and spend time with you guys. So thank you.
And if you need a good home warranty, make sure you call Kathy.
Thank you.
So thank you. Awesome. All right. Well, next month we have Jackie Coombe joining us. So we'll be here again first Wednesday of the month in September. So hopefully you guys can all join us on that day.